What's happening, YouTube? I am highway.to.hill and this is my bike Yamaha Visor FR3. So this is going to be my complete review of the TVS Protorq Extreme tires. If you're new to my channel, I just want to give you a little bit of context before I start the review. So I have done around 51,000 kilometers on my R3. My first set of tires were the Protorq M5 by Metzger's. These were 140 by 70 at the rear and 110 by 70 at the front. These are standard on the BS4 version of R3. These lasted around 16,000 kilometers, which is a bit too much. I think these tires were done by 14,000. And after this I got my second set of tires, which were the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2. These were again the same stock spec, 140 by 70 at the rear and 110 by 70 at the front. These lasted around 14,000 kilometers, which is again a little bit of a stretch. I think the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 were done by 12,000 kilometers or so. My third set of tires were the Apollo Alpha H1. This was a slight upsize. The rear was 150 by 60 and the front was 110 by 70. The Apollo Alpha H1 lasted around 19,000 kilometers, but I think they were you could start seeing, they were done by around 17 and a half thousand kilometers. And these are my fourth set of tires right now. I have done like 2,000 kilometers on these. These are again the same spec as Apollo, 150 by 60 at the rear, 110 by 70 at the front. So out of this 2,000 kilometers that I have done on these tires, around 1,700 was on the highway. That was my Chennai to Hampi trip. If you saw my last video, you would have seen that. And another 300 kilometers in the city. Now let's discuss about buying these tires, purchasing these tires, because availability is a big issue. So I think these tires were introduced, what I have read is that auto journalists started to see these tires back in 2017. At that time I don't think this was available for the consumers to buy, but they were able to see these tires on the racetrack. It was also, and I think it was introduced officially, I think somewhere mid of 2019, I think second half of 2019. But I didn't know about these tires until about like last year. And even today, these tires are difficult to get. I am in Chennai. TVS is headquartered in Chennai. I went to some of the big dealers, tire dealers in Chennai, who have been in the business for at least 2-3 decades, and I couldn't find these tires. So that was a big surprise to me. They had all the brands, Apollos, Michelin, Yokohama, Continental, your Pirellis, but I couldn't find TVS. It's not just these tires. I couldn't find any other TVS EuroGrip tires. So I think that's a shame, and I almost gave up. I thought let me just go with the tried and tested Apollo Alpha H1, but I decided to check online, and I remember seeing a post by torqueblog.com. They had put up a Instagram story showing these tires, so I contacted them, and luckily they had these tires. So they quoted 10,900 rupees for these tires, shipping 350 rupees, and then to get these installed, obviously I had to go to my service guy. I had to install my chain and sprocket, and my bike service was due. So again I paid another 250 bucks for labor, and then I had to do wheel balancing. So that again, doing separately, costed me 400 for the front and 400 for the rear. So I think totally I paid 12,300 to get these tires, get it shipped, get it installed, and do the wheel balancing. compared to something like a Apollo Alpha H1, which is readily available at a dealer, where they can do the fitment and they can also do balancing. You can get the Apollo Alpha H1 for less than 11,000 today. There are offers for 10,200. You can get the tires for around 10,200 to 10,500, and another probably 500 for balancing. So that's a real issue, and this could be a deal breaker. So guys, let's get into the review. Let's talk about the positives. Now, cornering, there's one thing that just completely stands out, and not just this tire, all the other 3 tires that I have used, is cornering. TVS has been in racing for quite some time, and these tires were also used on track for the Apache RR 310 Cup as well. And TVS has been in racing for almost like 3-4 decades, so they know a thing or two about racing. And these tires show that it's a lot of fun to corner on these tires, and I was pleasantly surprised. Whether you're taking U-turn at 20, or you're taking long sweeping turns on the highway at 120 plus, the way these tires show their composure, calmness, steadiness, and they feel so assured is just incredible. I only had this kind of feeling with the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2, and that says a lot. Those tires are really, really superior. So that's incredible. My bike has not handled so well. After 51,000 kilometers on my bike, I feel that I have just rediscovered like a completely new handling on my bike. And the R3 is not like one of the most amazing handling bikes out there, right? You have your RCs, you have your R15s with delta box frame and all that, and even the Ninja 300, I would say, at least the CKD version, is a great handler compared to the R3. R3 has a very 50-50 weight distribution, is good for commuting and city riding and touring and all that, sports touring and all that. But I was just so pleasantly surprised by the way my bike is handling right now. It's so much fun. So I think this is one of the biggest positive points of the Protorq Extreme, and I would say these are better than the Apollo Alpha H1. And in terms of grip, I think it's the same as the Apollo Alpha H1. You will soon find the limits on these tires. If you are someone who's really pushing hard all the time, and grip is like a non-negotiable for you, then I don't think you should look at the TVS or the Apollo. You have to go with the Pirellis or the Metzelers. And it does take some time to heat up, again same like Apollo Alpha H1. Yeah, so you just can't start pushing with these tires as soon as you get on the bike. You have to give some time so that the tires heat up a little bit. In terms of weight, again the weight is pretty similar to the Apollo Alpha H1. The rear is 4.95 or something, 4.95 kgs, like almost 5 kgs, and the front is 4 kgs. So 4 kgs at the front and 5 kgs at the back. This is also again similar to the Apollo Alpha H1. On paper, these two tires are so similar, and I always like to talk about the weight of these tires, because again it's unsprung mass, it's rotating mass, and rotating mass is always difficult to accelerate or decelerate. But it's on par with competition. Even the Diablo Rosso 2 are around the same, probably 100-200 grams lighter. And I think the Metzeler Protorq M5 are probably the lightest of, I think, all these 4 tires. I'm yet to try the Michelin Road 5, so I've heard a lot of good things. Probably my next set of tires, but it's the price, 16,500, that's keeping me away. So yeah, a lot of positives going on for the TVS Protorq Extreme. I think the biggest issue is availability, and I was surprised that these tires are not available so easily. And I spoke to a couple of dealers, and both the dealers, without hesitating right away, they said that the issue is with TVS's after sales. If today something goes wrong, if there is a bulge, a crack, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably go and fight with the dealer, and that's the kind of headache the dealers don't want, and that's why they're not stocking these tires. Also, there's hardly any marketing, from TVS. Only now I see TVS EuroGrip sponsoring the CSK, the IPL team. But before this, I've hardly seen any marketing. If you go to their Instagram page, they hardly have any followers compared to someone like, an Apollo tires. They're really marketing their the Alpha H1s and the other tires. There's also 2-year warranty, right, on the Apollo Alpha H1, and that's why these are selling so well. If something goes wrong today, I can go back to Apollo and maybe get a replacement if there is a manufacturing defect. And I think that's where TVS is kind of right now, I think, lagging, missing. And if you are thinking to purchase these tires, this could be a really important factor, or it could be a deal breaker as well. Obviously, these are road tires, so these are not for off-roading. Though I did a little bit of off-roading, you can see the footage over here. But I mean, we shouldn't be discussing off-roading about these tires, because they were constantly, slipping and skidding under. The bike was completely skidding all over the place. So yeah, it's not for off-roading. But surprisingly, these performed well on bad roads, like roads where there is obviously tarmac, and if there are like bumps and patches and like small potholes. So over those, I think these performed very well. Also, speaking of the Apollo Alpha H1, I have done like 5 videos on the Apollo Alpha H1 tires, complete end-to-end review, right from the time I purchased the tire, first impressions, wet weather review, a dry weather review, updates at 1,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers, 15,000 kilometers, and a final update at the end of life. So I have that playlist ready on my channel. If you're interested, you can go check that out. And I will do the same format with these tires as well. I've done a initial impressions video. This update is at 2,000 kilometers. Then I'll bring you a complete wet weather review, an update at 10,000 kilometers, 15, and so on till the end of its life. In terms of cons, I think probably one con is that there's a little bit of tire noise, rolling noise, and I've noticed this. I was wondering something wrong with my bike, but then I realized it's there is a little bit of rolling noise. I have no idea how these are going to perform in rain. It's summer in Chennai, and I don't know when it's going to rain. But looking at these deep grooves, I mean, these grooves are really deep. Even at the rear, if you see, really deep grooves. So I think these will perform well in rain, but I mean, I can't say for sure right now. But I promise you that whenever I have the chance and opportunity to ride in rain, I'll bring you a complete wet weather review as well. So that's it, guys. I hope this review was helpful to you in your decision making. If you're considering these tires, Apollos, Pirellis, Michelin, or Metzeller's, you can look at these tires as well. So that's about it. I'm going to see you soon in the next video. Until then, I am Highway to Hill, and you ride safe. Ciao.